Submit Sarkar, take me out to the ball game.
This is Super Mega Baseball.
Hey, buddy, I do the introductions around here. I already had it. Had a really good thing going with that. Take me out to the ball game, dude. And then you just stepped all over it. You think that you're just Professor Sports around here, don't you? And when sports are in play, then Submit is the king. Is that what you think?
I thought you were going to rhyme there. You were continuing with some kind of song.
I was going to. This is Super Mega Baseball, and I'm here with Submit Sarkar, noted sports expert. I played this game, Submit, because we're doing sort of a roundup of games that maybe we missed that came out earlier in the year. And you said that this is like the best sports game of 2014. And you know me, when I hear there's a good sports game on the market, I jump all over them shits. So here we are. Here we find ourselves. This is, so I just started playing this game. It's on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. So there's some stuff that I haven't unlocked. So I'll need you to like talk about that a little bit. But I mean, you can already see my incredible baseball acumen in play here. Can you talk a little bit about why this is your favorite sports game of the year? Because it looks like one of those like maybe like a free Xbox 360 game that you play with your avatars. But I think it's a bit better than most of those games that came out.
Yes.
First, hold on, just a quick second. Game recognized game. How about that, Homer?
That's pretty impressive.
Thank you. Okay, talk about sports.
Okay. Well, both Owen Good and I, the sports guys at Polygon, agreed on this being our sports game of the year. It really came out of left field at the end of the year. It came out on December 16th. And I think the main reason, or one of the big reasons that we picked it, was that it not just for the novelty of it, but it was like we were kind of unenthusiastic about all the other sports games that came out this year. I mean, there are some like really great sports games, but
it was not a great year for them, though.
I mean, there weren't any that really stood out to us when we were thinking about the best sports games of the year. There wasn't, a single one that was the cream of the crop.
I just remember talking to you, doing overviews on those things. Like, it seems like a lot of franchises are still having a lot of trouble getting over the current generation hump. So games like NHL that you usually like dig on really hard kind of fell short this year just because the next gen versions of them or current gen versions of them were like not really fully featured.
Yeah, totally. And WWE 2K15 was the same way. Some franchises did make a better transition, like Sony's MLB The Show, which is a simulation baseball game. It's trying to be very realistic in its representation of Major League Baseball. Obviously, this is completely unlicensed, and I think what's so impressive about Super Mega Baseball is that while it has this very kiddie, like backyard baseball type aesthetic, there really is a very solid, fundamental game of baseball that's underlying everything here. It is a little bit simplified, so like you can steal bases, but you can't do pickoff throws.
Yeah.
But otherwise, in terms of stuff like the pitching and hitting and all that, and even like the sort of physics of the baseball, it's all really good. And honestly, what's so special about this game is that mechanically, control-wise, it solves problems that made Owen and me wonder, like, why haven't other like veteran developers of sports games, specifically baseball games, implemented these solutions? I mean, Owen said in one of his articles that I think in our 2014 review piece that like these are the best pitching controls he's ever seen.
They're really goddamn good, and they're very accessible too.
Right.
Basically, you choose your pitch from a wheel, and different pitches have different sort of trajectories to them. You can choose to do like a basic pitch or a power pitch, which is a little bit more difficult to pull off. And then after you select the pitch and aim it, you have to do like a very fast mini game where you have to aim a target over a reticle. That's not going to work for me. That's not going to get me any homers.
No.
Homer points, is that what they call them in baseball?
Right. Yeah, homer points. Cool. That's it.
How about that bunt, though? It was a strategic play. Didn't work out for me that time.
No.
Yeah, no, the pitching's really, really great. And even the hitting, I think, is pretty pretty nice too.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, it's accessible, which is really important for a game like this. Um, and another thing that they really designed very smartly is their difficulty system, which is called Ego. You see there's like that, it says Ego 15 next to your username there on the top left part of the screen.
I did not realize that difficulty system existed when I was playing this, and I just thought I was like the king of baseball. But actually, Ego 15 is like pretty low. Oh, how about that slide though? God. That's very mechanically satisfying every time you can pull that off. Whenever you're fielding, you can slide and jump.
Yeah.
Or I should have jumped there, and it would have been cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's okay.
Sorry, everybody.
Well, and that's something that is actually tied to ego in some ways. So ego is like a rating that goes from, I think, 0 to 100 or 1 to 100. And basically, on the lower end of that scale, the game is pretty easy to play. And what that means is that they automate a lot of the things for you. So
aiming
for
your
example,
hit is automated, I think.
yeah, like fielding is automated. Like your fielders will pretty much move to the ball automatically. I mean, you still have to make the throws, but I think you might be able to even turn that off. But anyway, as you set up the ego higher and higher, the game gets more and more challenging. And so there's a ton of depth here. You can play this game with like your kids, for example, by setting the ego rating pretty low. And in fact, different players can have different ego ratings. So like, if you're like mom playing this game with your kids and you're really good at it, you can set the ego rating, your own ego rating really high and set your kids' ego rating pretty low.
Does that affect the leaderboards at all? Because I know that there's a leaderboard system in basically every mode of the game.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So with the leaderboards, I think I want to say the leaderboards are just for single-player games versus the CPU
for exhibition matches.
Yeah, I think so. There might be season leaderboards as well. But yeah, so that's another way that you can. So that's one thing that the game does not have online play. It was built by this team called Metalhead Software in Victoria, Canada, which is an awesome name for a studio. But they're like, I think they had like 3 or 4 people working on this game full time. So when I interviewed them in September, they were like, yeah, we just didn't have the ability to build online play, but you can do up to 2-on-2 local co-op. So it's a very couch-friendly game in that respect. But and that's another thing. The sort of overall picture here, and again, part of the reason why Owen and I really enjoyed what this game brings to the table is that there aren't really any games like this anymore. I mean, for people who have been playing games for a long time, they might have fond memories of stuff like NBA Jam.
Yeah. Or NBA Street, was that one of them?
Yeah, NBA Street was great in the early 2000s, and MLB Slugfest and NHL Hits, and all of these arcade-style sports games. And now, granted, this isn't like NBA Jam in the sense of
whoops, what happened? It was an accident. I love that actually when you do that, you lower the person's mojo that you hit, which is like sort of a general rating of how they handle pressure situations.
Yeah.
So you could strategically like bean somebody. Here I'm just like seeing what I can do with these pitches. Getting creative. No, I mean those. I feel like I've talked about that on these sports vids before. No.
Yeah.
Is that like my favorite sports games are always the less sim-like sports games. Like I forget what the. I mean 2K for me was always the gold standard. Like I always like those better than EA sports games. But like 2K had an all-star baseball game where you could build a team and then you would play against like. Wow, that was a good dive. Play against like seasoned veterans, like classic. Like all-star players, and then if you beat them, you could recruit them onto your teams. So by the end of a season, like my Cincinnati Reds would have, Chris Sabo on them from far, far beyond after he had retired.
Right.
And you could build like an all-star team like that. It was so silly, and the controls were so much more arcadey, and I just always dig stuff like that a lot more than the other series, the MLB The Show series.
Yeah, and I think that's true for a lot of the player base. And the thing is that what people maybe don't realize is that it's really hard to make these games and even harder to do it right, because a lot of the reason that companies have shied away from them is kind of that they haven't really been as financially successful. Even though they're, you would think like smaller games and easier to make.
Yeah.
And even like Major League Baseball tried, like they literally had their own sort of game development arm try to do a new RBI baseball game this spring, and that really kind of fizzled because the game just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But this one is fantastic, and because it's not a licensed Major League Baseball game, they can have a lot of fun with the aesthetic and with the humor.
Who's this?
Oh boy.
This is it. This is your beautiful shining No, I'm going to sub you out. No, I'm just kidding. You got this. You got to believe in yourself, though, Submit. I need... listen, it's already 9-3, but I need it to be 10-3. I need you to widen the gap for me. Well, shit. Submit.
That's... Well,
you had one job, and it was to baseball good.
I mean, I'm much better as a righty than a lefty.
Yeah. And you're also better in real life, I imagine.
No.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about the customization options? I hop into some of the aesthetic stuff, but when I was playing this and recording this, like I was having fun with it, but I didn't realize that there was actually a pretty broad unlock system as you play through the franchise mode. Can you talk a little bit about like what level of customization there is for your teams?
Yeah, so what's really special about the season mode here is that it's pretty deep and actually does get pretty interesting for people who have played these kinds of modes before, in the sense that you can do the XCOM thing where, as you've done in this game, you can name you can change all the names of your players and name them after people in your real life.
I didn't do that to everyone. I just did that for you.
Okay. Well, I saw there was a McElroy in there somewhere.
Oh, for me too, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's like automatic for me. If I can change someone's name, I gotta be in it,
Yes, of course. So that's obviously really fun, and you can also put mustaches on people and things like that. I've had my friends who played this game complain to me. They're like, "Submit, I took your mustache off, and you're doing much better now," or something.
It's an aerodynamics thing.
Yeah, totally. It makes it faster without the facial hair.
It's like a spoiler on your face.
Right. So in the season mode, what you can do is, in addition to customizing all the players, you can start hiring trainers, and the trainers will sort of, over time improve the stats of these players. The trainers have these different modifiers to increase specific stats, like, I don't know, better pitching or speed or whatever. And you have all these modifiers, and as you play, you like unlock the different sort of tiers of the modifiers, and that will obviously allow you to assign different trainers to different players and different modifiers to those players, and then different strengths of the modifiers. So you really have a lot of control over the course of the season over the players themselves and how they develop. So for the really diehard baseball nuts, they can go in there and really, like what you were saying about that baseball game that you played, you can really craft your own story with this team of your creation.
I do wish you could change the names and logos of the teams.
Yeah, that would be neat, but I honestly really enjoy the names that they've put in. That's another aspect of the game that was kind of surprising to me, is just how funny it is, and a lot of it is this really just silly humor, but for some reason it struck a chord with me. I don't know, like the teams are...
You're a silly boy.
The Sirloins.
Sure.
That's the name of the team.
That's good stuff.
But another thing that's really nice is with the customization, there are, again, because it's not real baseball, there are female players in the game, so that's really cool. It's really nice to see them, if they don't give you the sort of full customization options that you might get in a larger game by a bigger studio, you do have at least that much.
And you can play baseball with Scott Bakula.
Sure, that is
my dream. That is my dream too, dog. I don't know if you're joking or not, but Anyway, this is Super Mega Baseball. It's out now on PS3 and PS4. I think it's like $20.
Yeah.
Which seems like kind of a steep price tag for like an indie indie sports game. But I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I know you have too.
Yep.
Oh, here's all those unlocks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that. I was worried that there wasn't something like this, and that like I need a progression system in my game to like really stick with it, because I don't know, addicted to role playing games, I guess, and their mechanics. And I think this will scratch the itch. I want to be the best baseballer. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
want to be the best at baseball.
You want to be the best, better than all the rest.
That's true. This is Super Mega Baseball. Sumit, thanks for joining me. Thank you all for watching. It's probably our last video of 2014. Anything you want to say, just to like wish the year farewell, Sumit?
What I'll say is maybe I'll do one of these for an MMO next year.
Next year, I'm going to get you to do an MMORPG. Bye, everybody.